I'm Patrick Frei from Germany, from Freiburg, which is in the south where Switzerland and France meet, and Black Forest.
Okay.
I was traveling in South America 1.5 years by bike. I used to be a street artist, do lots of juggling, street performance, and like nearly all street performers I know are in love with suitcases. Like suitcases is one of the objects, circus objects. And so I found in Bolivia an old man making traditional suitcases, and I stood with him 3 months learning stitching, a bit leather craft, and finally made a suitcase there, and then went on cycling. And back in Europe I discovered that there's a much more interesting discipline for me, much more complicated, and like the king's discipline in leather craft, bespoke shoemaking. And I was lucky to find a traditional master, maybe not the highest level of shoemaking, but surely what was a gift for me, that all was in-house, last making, uppers, bottom making.
Okay.
So I learned the basics, and then when you are 20 and a bit, you just think, I'm the king, I have a very special occupation. Everybody says, wow, you're a bespoke shoemaker, and that's so nice. But at that time I didn't realize that the real craft is something else, something more divine. You have to see that this craft developed over centuries, and that the end of the 19th century bespoke shoes were comparable to cars today, like car saloons. You had these competitions, and all the energy and power of innovation was into shoes, because you could see somebody had really expensive shoes, 200-300 hours of work. And so the people with money, or the royals, they really invested in innovation as well, like today in luxury cars. And then I had the luck, I was in Munich, and I visited a friend of mine who is shoemaker as well in Munich. And he learned with the oldest German shoemaker, a royal shoemaker, but at that time they had no more a shop. It was just an old man sitting in a normal house, in a normal hood, and worked on bespoke orthopedic shoes. But in the cellar was bigger than the house. There were like 5,000 to 10,000 of pairs of lasts.
Wow.
And they made all the riding boots also for the Nazis, and they had a knowledge like over, I don't know, 6-7 generations. And he learned there, and what I discovered there was the old bespoke samples. I've never had seen shoes like that, made 120 years ago, but so refined, no machines, no electricity, no computers, nothing but the shapes, the refinement of work, the altogether appearance, just mind-blowing. And that was
time capsule.
Exactly, and that was my starting kick to that. I thought, till that moment I thought I'm good shoemaker, but then I knew if I want to learn that, and I want to learn that, I really have to spend time and energy, and I have to take a look where can I find the sources to learn that. And finally I did my own way. I never worked for another shoemaker. I was, after my education, self-employed, and but I did journeys to many of the big shoemakers, and I to royal shoemakers and to small shoemakers, unknown shoemakers, but some of them had fathers or grandfathers who shared wisdom, and I nearly nobody closed the door in front of me. Most of them were so generous. Like even here, John Lobb Sr. gifted me a day with the last maker, which was wonderful. And I have a large collection of antique books, like over 100 books, most of them more than 100 years old in several languages, but also the many German books. And there you see that Germany used to be a shoemaker nation with their own style, apparently, but that got lost completely. The bespoke shoemakers in Germany you have now, it's little. All of them had to gain their knowledge from outside. But this shoemaker in Munich and also his apprentice who works in Munich, they quite have a, let's say, German style. It's a bit an own last, and also the working is not Austro-Hungarian, neither English or French, it's something between. You have, for example, the beveled waists, but you see the stitching. But not that you want to hide it, but you can see it. Yeah. It's really for purpose. And some other details, also in field or riding boots, like you have English. If I now make a tree for riding boot, the customer can choose between 3 or 4 shapes, English, French, but there used to be a German shape as well.
Oh, so this seems like it's been a real journey for you. I mean, not just in kind of discovering the heritage of German shoemaking itself, but also kind of, rediscovering, shoemaking at a level that was largely lost at the turn of the 20th century.
Exactly. What really attracts me is that level. That I think we humans, we are really strange animals. Like in every part of life, we are searching for perfection. If you see what is happening around us, in which speed, in many fields, people are just going crazy. If you take a look at Michelangelo or art, science, writing, old books. And the same thing happened with shoes over centuries. It was refined and refined and refined, and finally it was nearly perfect in my eyes, and then it got lost.
Yeah, when do you think it reached its apex?
I think around 1900, a bit before, in 1910, then it decreased. Yeah.
And that was kind of along the same lines of kind of the industrialization of shoemaking.
Exactly. Bespoke shoemakers, the advantage is that everybody can wear shoes today. Yeah. Because in these days, maybe 1/3 of the people had shoes. 1/3 had shoes with a combination of leather and wood, or only wood. Also in all the European big cities, we connect that with the Netherlands or Holland, but wooden shoes in every bigger city, from Paris to everywhere, wooden shoe. The clockmaker or the shoemaker who made partly leather and partly wood shoes, 1/3 wore that and 1/3 had like nothing or bad stuff. But what really attracts me is that if you imagine, it's a part of our culture, our European history. It was refined over centuries, and then it reached zenith, and today nobody can see what's the difference. And it's so poor. Maybe we are still able to make beautiful shoes, also beautiful industrial shoes, but one day maybe nobody is left to know how was the way to get there, to reach that point. And there are so many secrets, every shoe model has its own secrets, every last form, the anatomy, and it's so complex. And my aim from beginning on was, I know there's always the money issue. You have the problem that you have to work fast or to...
you have to earn a living.
Yeah, you have, sure, I have family, I have 2 daughters, and you have to make your living. But I wouldn't work as a shoemaker if I had to make compromises. Yeah. That's not my style. I tried it sometimes, but I just can't do it. It's not me, just can't do it.
Absolutely.
And my aim was to make a shoe like in these days, to use the old techniques refined, and maybe to be able, like over centuries, there were new inventions in this haute couture shoemaking, to make something new, to create, to not stopping to develop this craft, but or to leave it on that level, but to go the new and old way to develop it again.